Guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Din and I'm going to show you how to prepare your ingredients, mix the spices and then cook the dish. Very simple method I'm going to use, so please follow the instructions carefully. So let's cook. Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to cook meat samosa. I'm Chef Din and I'm going to show you a simple method how to prepare it. So in a large bowl add warm water and also 1 teaspoon of onion seed and 1 teaspoon of Anjwar seed and 1.5 teaspoon of salt. In this we're going to put also 100 ml or 100 gram of melted ghee. What we're going to do is give this a good whisk and incorporate everything together and also dissolve the salt. It's very important this stage so that we mix it all in well, but it doesn't really mix 100% because, as you know, water and oil or ghee does not mix together, but we're going to incorporate as best we can before we add our flour. We're going to add 500 grams of plain flour altogether. We may need a little bit more depending on the quality of your flour, but add a little first and mix that in. And what we're going to do is try to create a thick mixture and not too wet mixture, so it has to be a stiff mixture basically, if you know what I mean. So it's not too soft, the dough, otherwise it's very hard to work with when we're making the samosas. And plus, when you're frying the samosas, to make it crispy, what you're doing is taking out the water content. So the more water content you have in your flour, basically when you're frying, it will take longer to get out of the flour to make it crispy. So it's best to add less water as possible when you're making this dough and make it quite stiff. So give it a good knead, just like so, and what we're going to do is basically cover this for about 20 minutes or half an hour at least, just to let it rest for a little while. But before we do that, make sure it's nice and stiff, the dough, and cover it with a damp cloth. That's it, it's nearly there, as you can see. So what we're going to do is cover it with a damp cloth. Right, let's start making our filling now. And first, in a frying pan, a large frying pan, put 1/4 cup of oil and your fresh grated ginger. In this we're going to add our cumin seeds and our fennel seeds. What I've done with the fennel seeds, just crushed them a little bit in pestle and mortar. You can use a grinder, just bizz it up about a second or two, but not too much. We don't want a fine powder, we want a coarse powder. So just either pestle and mortar or just in a little grinder. Anyway, put all that in and give it a little stir and fry the spices out a little. Then to that add 550 gram of minced lamb. I always find minced lamb is best for meat samosas, but you can use beef if you wish, or you can use chicken. So you know, this is a good recipe for you to use. Instead of the lamb, use chicken mince and make chicken samosas. So give that a good stir, fry a little to brown the meat, and also cook out the little bits of fat which is in the meat, so it'll be nice and lean. So to that we're going to just add our onions, which we've already chopped up and ready to throw in. So put the onions in just like so, and also 3 chopped up finely green chilies, and also 2 tablespoons of salt, like so. So give that a stir. What we want to do is just cook the onions a little, maybe 5 minutes or so, just to cook them out a little. Then after we've done this, we want to basically add our potatoes and our peas as well, and the spices. This process doesn't take too long, so we're making the filling very quickly, probably all within say 20 minutes basically. it takes about 15 minutes for the potatoes to cook out and become soft. So I would say, yeah, about 25 minutes this will take. And just like to mention, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and share my channel so it's available to your friends as well, which I would most appreciate. Anyway, add the potatoes as you can see and give them a good stir. To this we're going to add our spices as well now, which I've got ready. I've got the list of spices as you can read just on the left hand side. We've got Methi Leaves, 1 tablespoon. We've got 1 teaspoon of Gram Massla, half a teaspoon of hot chili powder just to give it a little bit of bite, and half a teaspoon of chili powder as well. In this we're going to put also a teaspoon of coriander powder and a teaspoon of cumin powder as well, and 1 teaspoon of Gram Masala. So put all that in, give that a good stir, and then put your coriander in and give that a good stir. To this we're going to add a little bit of water as well, just to steam cook it. Not too much water, because this mixture has to be really dry, because otherwise we don't want any moisture in our samosas when we're making them. So basically I would add probably about I would say about a cup of water to this, and let that cook out and steam out while the potatoes and everything is cooked. So add the peas first before you add the water. I would say add a quarter of a cup of water just to be on the safe side, and if you need a little bit more you can. And what we want to do is bring it to the boil, then turn it right down and put a lid on it for about 15 minutes for the potatoes to cook out. There's your water. So I put in probably about a quarter of a cup here. So all we're trying to do is put the water to create the steam. So once it's starting to steam up like this, put a lid on it and then turn it right down to half the heat. I'll put it down to number 4 on this just to give you some indication, and leave it for about 15 minutes. Put it on the timer if you have a timer, and for 15 minutes just leave it, and that will cook the potatoes out. In the meantime, what you need to do is basically get your dough balls ready. So what I do is measure them so they're all near enough the same size, and 80 gram dough balls you want to make, and give them a roll and put them in a big bowl, and cover them as well with a damp cloth, and leave it for about 10 minutes before you use them. But make sure that once your filling is cooked, let it get cold before you start making your samosas. It's very important. Don't use the hot filling to make your samosas, otherwise they just fall apart when you're trying to make them. Anyway, our balls have been resting for about 5 minutes. We're going to start making our samosas. First, get a little bit of flour and roll your balls out to about 8 to 9 inch diameter. I've speeded it up a little bit so not to waste too much time showing you how to make a circle. Cut it in half, as you can see. Use a little bit of water just to cover the seam where you're going to join it up, and then open it up basically like a triangle, and fill with as much filling, leaving probably about a centimetre or so below, and then with water wet it and then seal it tight. Make sure that it's sealed really tight, otherwise oil will get in. Make all your samosas up as you're going along, and then you can fry them all together. I'm just using water, but sometimes people use a little bit of flour and water mixed up together to make a paste, but I find water is fine. Make sure you cover the seam with water first and push it right down so it kind of seals it, so no oil gets in. It's very important, this. Keep on making them as you go along, and then once they're all ready and made, then we can start frying them. These samosas are very easy to make and very versatile. You can freeze them as well. What I'm going to do today is basically freeze probably about 70% of them for another day, but instead of freezing them raw, what we're going to do is cook them half and then take them out and let them cool down, and then put them into a freezer bag and basically freeze them. They're really good to freeze as well, because you take them out an hour before or so and then just deep fry them, and they're as good as the day you made them. So it's easy to make a load up and just leave them in your freezer. Anyway, put them in as many as you can get in. Don't start moving them around straight away. Let them cook for about a minute or so, just to firm up a little bit before you start turning them over. We're going to cook them slowly, not too much heat, because what we want to do is basically cook them gently so we get the moisture out of the flour to make the flour more crispier. Now, a lot of people go wrong at this stage. What they do, they cook it on a high heat, and before they know it, they're brown. They take them out and they're all soft still. But you need to cook them gently and slowly. So if the oil gets too hot, just turn it down a little bit and turn it up when it gets too cold. So that's the way to do it. Keep an eye on it and see how it's cooking and the bubbles. You'll find the bubbles will decrease as the water content in the flour will kind of evaporate. So carry on frying these. When they're half done, you can take them out and freeze them, like I said, or you can, like I said, when they're half done, you can take them out and let them cool down before you freeze them, placing them in the freezer bag. I always use a bit of kitchen towel to drain the excess oil off, which is good. But these are my samosas. I hope you will give them a go and try them. I also have vegetable samosa, as you know, on my channel. So if you're a vegetarian, have the vegetable samosa. They're really good as well. Anyway, thanks for watching, and check out my channel for all the other recipes I have, and let me know in the comments what you think of my recipes and if they're easy for you to follow, because I'm trying to make them so easy that anyone can cook curry, because it's not difficult. I've taught many of chefs in my time to cook curries and so and so. So at the end of the day, it's not difficult and they're very tasty. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.